Hi everyone, this is Akim Yagantishwardu. I'm a data scientist and based at NIT Silchar. Welcome back to our machine learning sessions. Today I'm going to discuss one of the clarification everyone is asking, like what are the different roles in data science, what I need to learn, and what is the common technologies I need to learn. For example, if I go for data engineer, if I have to learn data science, which and all I can use, and in addition to that, what I need to learn, that we are going to discuss. See here a simple diagram I represented. Here I have classified into three roles, but in the market maybe you can find many roles. Major categories like data scientist, data engineer, business stakeholder. If you see data scientist, data engineer, and I categorized and find out which are the common technologies and what they have to learn, all those I represented in this diagram. First, we'll start with data scientist. And if you see, for anything, first programming language I need to learn. For data scientist, one of the most preferred language is Python. If you see my videos on Python, there I explained why Python, why not other programming languages. There are many languages available in the market, Java, .NET, C, C++, and so on. Why I need to go with Python? One of the important feature of Python is packages. How to create packages or how to use packages, predefined packages, which packages are useful for my machine learning or data science. There will be plenty of packages. For machine learning, scikit-learn, pandas, numpy. For deep learning, TensorFlow, keras. For image processing, OpenCV. For NLP, NLTK, GenAI. Like this, for each and every techniques which I need to implement, there will be the corresponding packages. So what is the advantage of packages? If I have these packages, instead of writing multiple lines of code, what is the advantage of this Python for data scientist? Data scientist. So one of the preferred language is Python. So one of the most important note you need to remember is packages. You are having multiple packages like scikit-learn or pandas, numpy, and so on, which are most important for your machine learning career. Or if you are using deep learning, there will be TensorFlow, keras. Addition to that, there will be multiple things, multiple other packages. And if you are going with NLP, there will be NLTK package. If you are going with image processing, there will be OpenCV and so on. Based on your requirement, you can find suitable packages. What is the advantage of these packages? If you need clear-cut explanation of these packages, just watch my Python videos on packages. There you can understand how much these packages will play in a developer role. So what it will do means, if I'm able to import these packages, my developer job is very, very easy. Means I'm very safe, or I'm very reduced work, means I can able to implement everything within few lines of code. My development job is very easy if I'm able to know, if I know all the packages available in Python. For example, if you wanted to implement any ML algorithm like random forest and so on, all the mathematical concepts, by following all those mathematical concepts, if I use Python, so just I need to import corresponding package for random forest in scikit-learn, create an object for this, and you can able to train your model and predict your model data within few lines of code. That may be 5 to 10 lines of code. If you write, then you are able to predict the future data. But if I don't use these packages, if I go with some XYZ language, then I need to write hundreds of lines of code. So what is the advantage of package means already everything is packed into some package, all the related functions, just I need to import it, create it, an object and invoke the corresponding function. My job is done. So instead of writing the same code multiple times. So that's why if I use Python, my job is very simple. That's why for every data scientist or most of the data scientists, they will prefer Python as a programming language. And in addition to this, you can see what others they have to learn is. So anyhow, programming language is the common thing data scientist has to learn, and then mathematics. Every algorithm is built on top of some mathematics. They have to learn some statistics or probability, how those algorithms will work. So that the data scientist has to learn. Along with, as I told, you can learn machine learning, deep learning for predictive analytics. Means if I have to predict the future data, I need to learn machine learning or deep learning. Along with this, some visualization tools like even if it is a simple visualization, then you can use Python itself. In Python, there will be some packages like Matplotlib, Seaborn. That packages you can use to visualize. But if there is any complex visualizations, then I need to use some tools like Power BI or Tableau to learn the to implement the visualization. Like this, you are having if you use Python, the advantage is you can use the packages. So if it is a simple visualization, you can use Python packages like Matplotlib or Cban. But if it is a complex visualization, then you need to, if you wanted to design some dashboards, then you need to learn Tableau or Power BI kind of tools for visualization. See here, data engineer. So what is data engineer role means? Mostly it is they have to involve with some database systems or data warehouse and like they have to interact with Hadoop's ecosystems, like getting the data for the data scientist. The data may be present in some relational databases or NoSQL databases or Hadoop systems. What this data engineer will do means they will write some queries and then they will retrieve the data in the required format for the data scientist. Most of their job will be involving or interacting with the database systems. They have to learn Hadoop or SQL or data APIs, like how to get the data for the data scientist. They will write some simple APIs to retrieve the data. And data warehouse is also nothing but a data storage. They can write data modeling, very simple modeling, right? Or instead of data modeling, I can say data pre-processing. They will get the data. They will try to pre-process the data which the data scientist requires. Out of this, if you see, there is a common things between data scientist and data engineer is analysis part. Sometimes in the startup, what they will do is even data scientist also they have to involve in the analysis part. Even as a data scientist role, you need to know how to perform the analysis on the given data. Means what kind of data is there, and by doing some visualization, then you can visualize your data and you can see whether any outliers or any missing values. So you need to do some sort of analysis. Maybe a data engineer also will do that, a data scientist also will do that. And programming, as I told, programming must be there in order to retrieve this. If they have to write some SQL queries, or if they have to write some Python code to retrieve the data from the database, programming is required. That's what the Python we told. And big data. So how the big data will be correlated to data scientist means without data, nothing will be there, right? Maybe data scientists directly not interact with these database systems, but they should need the data from the big data systems like Hadoop or PySpark or database systems like SQL databases and so on. So they need to interact with these database systems. Not interact, they need the data from those systems. And one more role, I will say business stakeholders. So business stakeholders mostly they will not write the programming, but they are the users of your models or databases. After using your database and designing the model, these business stakeholders, what they will do is they will do some critical thinking. For example, you designed some COVID-19 prediction system or matrimony website or some recommended system or something. What they will do is they will do some critical thinking. For example, I implemented with five features which may be giving some 80% of accuracy, but they will think in a critical way which are the other important features which make some more accuracy important. I means they have to think, or they have to give some suggestions to the data scientist, or they will think instead of these designing with machine learning with random forest, I need with SVM or I need with Naive. That kind of critical thinking. Or they will say that I am already you designed some machine learning. Out of this machine learning, you need to apply generative AI. On top of that, design some chatbot. That kind of critical thinking these business stakeholders will do, and they will give some suggestions to the data scientist and engineer what they have to retrieve, what they have to get the data. And these, while doing these thinking and findings, communicate findings means you design this model, but I need this another model, but in this model, after live user interacting, this is getting these wrong outputs. These findings to be communicated to the user. So if you see this business stakeholder, they will communicate the findings, they will do the critical thinking. While doing that, they may be required some mathematics to do some calculations or something to find these findings. They need some mathematics and some visualization. So whatever they think, they will do some visualization, they can present it to the stakeholders or customers, and their product is good, or they can find those findings and visualize it. They can show it to the data scientist, engineer, what improvements they need. And if you see, there is a common thing out of data engineer, business stakeholder, and data scientist is governance and monetization. So how much they spend, what amount, what is the profit, or what governance is required for these data scientist models, all those things. And between data scientist and the business stakeholder, visualization and metrics. Metrics are nothing but how much accurately your model is performing, that metrics. And between data engineer and business stakeholder, deployment and integration. Either business stakeholder or data engineer, they can involve in the deployment and integration part. Maybe both needs to know about this deployment and integration part. And if you see the right hand side, I represented some of the important roles which data scientist can get. Some of the roles like data scientist may get is here something like a data scientist role, which requires all these technologies like Python, machine learning, deep learning, NLP, generative AI, visualization tools. They have to aware about these things, because at any of point of time, the your manager or team lead will ask to work on some machine learning topic or deep learning topic or NLP or generative AI kind of thing. And machine learning engineer, mostly the required technologies like Python and machine learning, they will work on some machine learning topics. Sometimes even the role will be machine learning. Your manager or team lead can ask to work on the some of the other data science topics. And AI engineer, deep learning engineer, NLP engineer, image processing, Gen AI developer, prompt engineer. So what is exactly prompt engineer? Why it is important? That we'll discuss in the separate sessions. So why prompt engineer role is important in it nowadays? All those we are going to discuss as part of the prompt engineer sessions. So that's all for the what are the different data science roles, and why, how data engineer, data scientist, or business stakeholder collaborate and develop data science models. So I hope you understand what are the different data science roles available, what are the technologies you require. So I hope, means here I given the brief description of these things, but in future we'll discuss all these topics like mathematics and predictive modeling, machine learning, visualization, Python. In the separate sessions we are going to discuss. Thank you for your patience and listening the video, and we'll come up with new topics and new sessions. So please subscribe my channel for further updates.